Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You, a August 9th, 2022 edition. Maybe I should do that. We're not doing episode numbers or anything like that because that would get out of hand. This is like a short run. It's like a limited series. It could be picked up for more. I don't know. That's up to you guys and gals and everyone in between to decide. But I am Travis now, Podcast Jesus. Shout out to Amanda who inspired that one. I can't remember how. Some about me being related to God, which is probably the furthest thing you'd want to relate as far as two things that understand one another. But yes, I am here with messy ass beach hair. But yes, vacation Travis continues. I was at the beach 2 days in a row. Gonna be going tomorrow. And then let's see. Oh, Pickens is in the chat. Yeah, 18 episode limited series run. It's pretty close to that, to be honest. 5 weeks, 4 episodes. So it's close enough. And then he said, "Good afternoon, my friend. Welcome to the Thunderdome." I get scared of thinking about the Thunderdome because that's what WWE had with that. They had an era of no fans in the arena, and it was just wrestlers like cheering, and it had like the fake audience. Oh, it's awful. Just bad. But let's see. You might get a season 2 before Moon Knight. That's true. That all depends. But that Moon Knight, who knows? We'll know in a couple weeks, right? Literally, it's August 9th at the time this recording. August 10th is when D23 happens. I'm excited for that because that'll be the 10th. That's gonna be the live action panel. I don't know. I know we'll be doing something, but I'll have to talk and see what we're doing for that day and everything like that. Espo says that Green Lantern show taking longer to release than New Mutants. 100%, and we're going to talk about today if we believe that or not. But yeah, it's funny. We got like a little bit lighter of the news. I will say, for anybody that sees that main headline, go, what have I missed? What have I missed about Bullseye? I talked about this yesterday where I thought, well, at some point, I'm going to get the links and everything, but I was thinking about, I saw something that expired the topic, and I'll tell you what in a second, but I just want to do an overall of Daredevil Netflix, not a review, but just talking about like who still could come back, and if they are coming back, is it just the character? Is it the actor? Is it a bit of both in any of the stories? Because there's some I saw at Bullseye, I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen there. So before I like to preference that some of these, when there's not much news, are going to be opinion pieces. And there's actually quite a bit of like little news going on, but there's no smoking guns. Like last week was Andor, earnings call, Batgirl getting canceled. This week it's pretty quiet, but I know Marvel and Disney, I feel like within the next few days we're going to be, and check out Marvel Alliance, so we'll be on that. I feel like soon we got to get some nice juicy quotes from Feige. Anytime he does the media, right? He has the press tour, things like that, interviews. So I feel like in the next few days, even maybe next week, we're going to be getting some sort of news, even if it's just like little news, just a tease of something. But I think primarily like the biggest news, trailers, castings, they're saving till D23. In Star Wars, you just never know. You never know when we're getting news, not getting news, who knows. But yes, this is Travis Told You. This is a solo show spinoff. So thank you to everyone that has been listening so far. Doing very well on the podcast feeds. And actually live last week we were popping off, and it was probably just because everyone was very concerned and just need more therapy and stress of like, hey, how can I get through this situation? But yeah, we're going to talk about some Daredevil today. We're going to talk about some Green Lantern news, some Black Canary news, a trailer I'm looking really forward to. We're going to Pickens. I see in the chat. We're going to talk about wrestling. That's going to be last there. And then we're going to talk about Sonic 3. Already we're at Sonic 3 versus Avatar 3. But yeah, let's get into, I guess what I should do, being a bad podcast host. Links down below, everything, the socials, the video, the audio, Discord, that's always fun, everything like that. I'm trying to think anything else. Manscaped, go use that podcast code GVPOD, get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Right now they already have 20% off, so if you think, oh, my code it's not going to do me any well, no, it takes 20% more off that. It's not 40%, but it stacks on that. So go use that. That's a great deal right now, especially with summer. It's winding down, but you want to be looking good coming up here. Let's see. Oh, what did Chris just share in the chat, UHF, you're listening? Disney has posted an extensive list of new events for its annual D23 Fan Expo next month, including new Marvel, Disney Plus, and animation presentations. Oh, let's go. Okay. Let me click this here because the reason I'm excited is because I want the animation stuff. I'm very excited about all that. So let's see. Did they say, Simpsons, Marvel Draw Live. We'll be getting midnight reviews for that. Will we be getting midnight reviews for the Knuckles TV show? And I like this little start. We're just starting before I get in the main topic here. So, you know what? Throw any random question you want before we get going. Let's see. Chris says you're welcome. No, we will not be reviewing doing midnight reviews for Knuckles. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if that show happens. I think it will because Sonic, but I think there will be a review. I don't want to guarantee them, but I would pretty much guarantee Kirklin and Taylor would do those. I'm pretty sure they would be doing those ones. I would jump on like the first episode and see. That's where I am. I did the first episode of Halo. I will probably do the first episode of House of Dragon because then just see if it keeps me. But Knuckles, it depends too, because I could be on more because I'll be watching them with the kids, right? So, but definitely no midnight reviews. Unless they say, hey, Travis, we really want to do these midnight reviews. I would say go at it, and I would happily stay asleep for that one. The Marvel one, Star Wars one, no, I want to be awake for that one. Oof, not so much. So, what is this happening? September 9th, 3:30 p.m., the Studio Showcase, Disney Animation and Pixar. Marvel Draw Live is at 2 p.m., The Simpsons. Let's see, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, that's the big thing, 10 a.m., Lucasfilm and 20th Century. Oh, and I didn't even know it was 20th Century as well. So, Marvel Draw a Lie, American Horror Story. Oh my God, that's gonna be coming to D23. There's just something gross about that. Like, I like American Horror Story, but it's just gonna be weird. You'll have like maybe some scene of just Lady Gaga getting nailed by Matt Bomer. Like, this is Disney now, and that's when all the parents are gonna start be like, this is not good. But let's see here, updated. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to say that. Someone just tweeted out 3 hours. They better not. It's probably for a sport event, anyways. The Walt Disney Company has posted extensive lists of new events. Simpsons, Dancing with Stars at Canto, Zootopia. So, okay, some stuff added there. But yeah, look out for that. We'll definitely, that's on a Saturday, so we'll be doing like a whole coverage of D23. I think we might do similar. Now, it's so funny because we did it with Fandom. We had so much fun when we did it with Fandom, right? And then we did it with Fandom again, and that was like the all-day no schedule, and that was brutal. But the last Comic-Con where we did the Marvel and DC panels and we did like the watch-alongs, that was tons of fun. Not only just like interacting with the chat and everybody, but just like some of the memes that came from that. So I think we'll probably do that again with D23. And look out. I'll talk to some other people and see what's going on. But probably what we'll hear at D23, I don't know anymore. But I still thought too, it was strange that... So Daredevil, right? We know what's happening. Born Again, great title in my opinion because it's a twofer, right? It's very much Experiment Homecoming where it is. Oh man, I'll have to talk about it in a second. Big crossover there, I suppose. But it's like Homecoming where it's like, oh, it's coming back into the fold. It's back with the family. It's a very double entendre type of title, right? So I like that. And then Born Again, obviously just a tie to the comic book. Now, we've talked about this before. We did on the day of, after Marvel Alliance says. They kind of covered Born Again they kind of covered some plot points in season 3. Now, the good thing is there's tons of things, like my favorite moment of like, you shouldn't have signed it, Kingpin. Like, there's tons of things they left out. Now, I also don't think in season 4 or Born Again, we're going to be getting Karen with a big, with a big heroin addiction. I don't think we're going to go that route in the Disney Plus channel. I think we're going to get mature stuff, but I think there's certain things they want to go across from, even though, again, like, Marvel did these stories, right? And they do them not for the most part, not just to be extreme, just because there was good content there. And there was a story there to tell with Karen Page as far as redemption and even with Matt Murdock, right? So it's not like I would implore them to do it, but I get why they're not going to. Dave Reese says D23 crossover with Marvel Alliance gun. We'll have to see. Well, that's the reason I have to talk because you also got Star Wars in there, so it might be a busy day. So, here's my behind the details. It might be similar to a Fandom thing where we might just have a big panel because there's lots of different things popping off and everything, and maybe we'll get Fandom and we'll see what happens. But more story of Ward doing a bunch of drugs that still must. Yeah, see, and that's the thing on Netflix. People love doing drugs over there, but on Disney Plus, they again love doing drugs. I don't know. S-Bubs or someone in the chat, let me know what's the most drug usage that has happened in the MCU. And I feel like it's only been used for jokes, right? Like, I'm not even talking about pot jokes. I feel like that might just be it and everything, right? But speaking of attorneys, tiny rumor by Great Phrase that but kind of teasing Bob Odenkirk might be joining the MCU. I can 100% see that. Great actor, and I feel like he's one of those guys that would fit in tons of roles, and even just the Martin Freeman role. Like, I'm not saying he has to play a SHIELD agent or something like that, but just a side supporting character. I don't see him as like a main villain, but Odenkirk is fantastic. I got to catch up on Better Call Saul. That suffered. Everyone says it's great. I've watched the first 3 seasons. That just suffered from prequelitis to me of like, I know where this is going. So I will. That to me was like, this is a better binge show for me. And the people always say it's a slow start, and I do agree with that. I don't know how it could get to Breaking bad level, but lots of people have said that, so I'm excited to catch up on it when it's done. I think it's done next week. So, but the good thing is I know what happens with Saul. Other than those, like, whatever gray flashbacks or flash forwards are. But anyway, so Daredevil, that's happening. So we'll see what they tackle Born Again. But what inspired this topic, and I thought, well, for the days that I have a little light news, I'm going to kind of, fish around, think about, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to get off my chest? And this is one. So someone they took the outfit from season 3's Bullseye and put him like black, and they photoshopped the Bullseye logo and all this stuff. Made it look like Bullseye, right? And it was like talking about like a Thunderbolts lineup and stuff like that. And I just saw that image and the logo, and I was like, man, and I can't, my bad. It was just like a random, I think it was someone liked it, so I don't even follow the person, but it was just random, like, oh, perfect place for him to be in, right? Because Feige did say we're going to meet a lot of people in the Thunderbolts that we've never met before. So now that could be within these next few phases we'll meet them, or some entirely new characters. I think we'll get a few of them. I said like around 2, but now with the way he phrased it, I could see 3 or 4, depending how big the roster is and which type of guys and gals they're going to use. So, but I saw him, like, I wonder, and it was that same actor and everything like that. Would they use Poindexter again? Dave Reese says, I could see a Borean having Karen Page addicted to pharma, not needles, because, kids be watching. Yeah, I could see that. I could see them doing something like that. And that's fine. That still gets that message across, right, of the addiction and trying to come over and work through and everything like that. So that was from David. So yeah, no, I could see a lower version of that. But the same way Black Panther dealt with real world issues and it worked very well, I think that they could do the same thing. So I looked at this and I wonder if he will be in this show, because the big thing is, like, Daredevil is 16 episodes, 18, even 2 more. Now who knows? Like, we got the runtime for some of these She-Hulk episodes. Now I don't think Daredevil is going to be that, but one episode for She-Hulk we talked about yesterday, I think it's episode 2 or 3. That's 28 minutes, so that's going to be like 22 or under, like maybe even getting in that under 20 minutes range and stuff like that. So not all these episodes are going to be huge, but I do think Daredevil Netflix is going to be used as kind of that crossover lane of how they're going to do the Netflix continuity. Don't really know, and I don't think they don't really care. I don't think they're ever going to address it, and I think that now we've had the good fortune of we've brought in Charlie Cox as Daredevil, we brought in Kingpin as or we brought in Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, and even Vincent D'Onofrio has been like, oh, I play it like it's the Netflix version, but that's never been confirmed by anybody, or the Kevin Feige version or the Kevin Feige. So what I think is eventually at some point we're going to get a recast, and that's going to even further muddy the waters as far as is that universe or is it not. But with Bullseye, season 3 happens, right? He's just Poindexter in that, and then he goes a little crazy. He's getting this operation. He opens his eyes, and he has those logos going on in there, right? So it's like, okay, he was clearly going to be Bullseye for season 4. This could extensively be season 4, but we have to see who they bring back, where they pick up. And that's where I thought, would he be in it? I think there's a good chance, actually, because I think this is going to be, like I said, in the crossover, even if it's not the exact same continuity or same actors, very much more the street level stuff. We got Echo, we got Hawkeye. There's a couple other right now, like Moon Knight I thought could have been that. It was definitely not that. We're getting more of the street level stuff, and with it being 18 episodes, now some people might worry about this because they just want to be Daredevil show, but maybe they make it not so much filler, or if there is a filler episode, they add in a hero we love, because sure, there could be, let's say there's 18, and let's say 4 to 5 of those are filler, but if you're adding, a Jessica Jones, a Bullseye, stuff like that, filler where it's just Matt Murdock on an adventure, I think that's fine, and I think that's where it's tough, where as someone that watched those 22, 23, 4 episodes on CW, there's definitely times that really feel like that. You just got to try and make sure you're best at there's never that route, and that's the good thing that the MCU has. You can either propel Matt's story, and now I guess in this probably Kingpin's story, or the MCU story, and that's kind of 3 things, and that's where I think a lot of those downtime or filler episodes won't feel like filler. I'm hoping, because they're going to use it to propel the MCU forward. I think Jones will obviously, sounds like she's gonna be in there. Punisher we've talked about. There was a scooper that, what was it, the Can We Get Toast or something like that. They're affiliated with My Time to Shine, so has some cred there. They had said that there was like multiple projects he could pop up in if he were to come in. Punisher, I think, or sorry, Daredevil makes a lot of sense. Heroes for Hire as like recasted makes a lot of sense. That it kind of sucks, but for Mike Coulter, but I think they will get recast. Who else? And obviously that would be Iron Fist as well. I'm trying to think of any of the heroes that could be introduced. But the thing is just whether it is Netflix characters that were brought over or Netflix characters that are the exacts or getting recast in a new, just an Iron Fist. Let's say it's fucking Keanu Reeves. It won't be Keanu Reeves, but it'll be Keanu Reeves as Iron Fist. That's what's okay. It's just a character. It's not the character from the Netflix show and stuff like that. So I think they're going to use a lot of those transition characters and get them over there to kind of get them in the universe, have them a quick cameo or a quick episode, something like that. And even kind of what they're doing with Daredevil already, right? He was in Homecoming for a scene about being Peter's lawyer. And now it seems like we don't know how much he's in She-Hulk, but I don't think too many, maybe 2 episodes, 3 the most, if you're not counting like an end credit or something like that. And he's in Echo. So it's just like sprinkling him in. And maybe that's what they might even do with Punisher too. Like, putting Punisher in 1 episode. I still don't know if I believe Punisher. Like, more people are reporting it. I just don't know if I believe they're going to come out D23 and say Punisher, it's happening. I don't think that. On a point that I wanted to make, something that like I was completely off about, back to that Comic-Con cast, I thought for sure that's where we got Daredevil news about him being in stuff and maybe a show. We got all that. I was so shocked they didn't walk Charlie Cox on stage because I thought that was the money shot. I thought that's why you do that at D23 or at Comic-Con instead of D23. They extensively could have just done that at D23. I definitely missed opportunity there, but I actually don't know. Yeah, no, they had some stars walk out. They had some people there for some certain movies. So I don't know why. Maybe if he was filming something, fine. But why they did not have Charlie Cox and Daredevil, maybe you can do that again with his show coming out, like the actual Born Again one. But that's just like a Comic-Con moment. I feel like because he's one of those, it's not like Keaton coming back or someone like that. But it's like, it's one of those that fans really wanted, didn't know if it was going to happen at all or not for a long time. So I think people are pretty happy that they're making this work. So surprised that they didn't do that. But will we see Bullseye? That's the other one where it's like these villains, right? The Hand, Elektra. Elektra, I think we see. I think Elektra is one of those prime, perfect filler episodes that give us more on Matt's backstory or maybe more in the world. Do we see the Hand? I don't think so, or at least in a big extent, because Marvel and Feige and company seem to all be about that once they get something, they want to do it a little bit different, right? That's how I feel about Spider-Man until No Way Home. And even No Way Home, to me, it's not them redoing Green Goblin or Doc Ock. It's them literally bringing those versions over. And I think that's why they are doing those versions in that Spider-Man animated show. The reason they're going to do this whole what if Norman Osborn found Peter before Tony did, because I don't think they're going to do it in the MCU, which I get. I'm not fine with. I want Norman in the MCU. I'd like our Spider-Man to go through his own Norman because Green Goblin's my favorite Spider-Man villain. Definitely a top 5er, I think. But I don't know. Arlen with a great example here. Maybe they'll replace the Hand with the 10 rings. That would be great. That would be a good idea. Because one thing, you could bring the Hand back eventually, which I think they would. But 10 rings is already established. We don't know what's going on with Zayling as far as her. She's trading the 10 rings up again, but it's just like how much crime is she doing? Is it just very small crime? Is it big tier? Is she more on the villain side? We don't have that answer. I think we'll get at least some of that answer at D23 because it said say the 10 rings will return, and we haven't got any announcement. I've been very surprised. I thought we were going to get that a lot sooner. But yeah, I 10 rings this Hand is good, but the Hand I think we could hear murmurs of. But like I said, Elektra, I feel like we would get a good filler episode, that introduction of her. Rumor is that she's getting recast, which sucks because LD Young is really good. I like her a lot in the role, and I thought her and Cox had good chemistry. It's going to be a little odd to see the love dynamic between those two, and he just had one with another one that's supposed to be Elektra, but that's fine. But Bullseye, I feel like he could fit right in. Now, I don't need him to do Daredevil, Elektra, Bullseye storyline yet. No, we don't need that. But I think he could either be, this would be copying the movie as far as like a hired gun from Kingpin, but whatever. But if they don't want to go that route, hired gun from somebody, and also just filler type an episode, And obviously, like the other thing to me that's going to be, if they never bring a character back like Ben Urich, to me, I'm always going to have this in my mind that, okay, the Netflix stuff did happen. They just aren't or can't address it. If Ben Urich is back, that's even more than Elektra being recast, because you could still say, oh, that's the exact same character, she's playing her now, If Ben Urich's back, no, that's a dead man. He's walking. He's literally a dead man walking around. So that'll be a big question. And I wish if they did bring him back, they would just bring that back, that actor from Netflix. I know that it would be weird because he got killed and everything, but he was so good, and it kind of was a shame we only got one season. All in the Game says, can we not get an 8 full hour long episodes like the season of The Boys Plus, please, instead of elongated 30-minute episodes, 18 episodes? I agree. It's tough because I do think like that 8 to 10 is probably the perfect spot. This could be a content ploy, just to like fill out the service and everything like that. But I agree. I wish that's what's nice about The Boys. Every time you boot it up, it's like a mini movie, right? So I can't really press back against you. I always try to play devil's advocate. Oh, this way, that way. The only way I can play devil's advocate is they need content, right? And only game, and I have seen this. LD Young is the lead of a new Fox show called The Cleaner, I think. Yeah, I've seen previews for it. Again, I just think that unless they are saying, hey, Elektra's going to be in a bunch of shows and movies, I feel like you could work around her schedule. They work around people's schedules that are much bigger than others, like as far as look at Benedict Cumberbatch. He didn't film majority of his Infinity War stuff with anybody, right? I always use this example. Tom Holland and David Bautista didn't meet each other to the Infinity War red carpet, but they have those characters have a lot of scenes together in Infinity War, so they, to me, usually could make it work. But maybe they just feel that, okay, to make it work, we'd rather just get someone on set. I personally feel, in my opinion, that unless there's a massive fanfare from the audience, which to me is Cox and D'Onofrio, which they got, Ritter and Berthnall, and I would almost put Berthnall over Ritter a little bit because Ritter's great. I still feel like Jessica Jones, from what I read, could still be played by someone else. I've said this before, where I could make an argument that Berthnall is the best comic book casting of all time as far as what he puts into a performance. And again, because I say it all the time, John Berthnall's not that guy. He believes in certain things as far as like, oh yeah, the way Punisher would act, and I understand it from that point of view. But he's not that guy. Listen to this podcast. He's sometimes a pretty silly guy in like a good way, not like some fucking like Glenn Jacobs Kane the rest are like, you man, you're so silly, you made me dislike you. Like silly in a way of like he's very like lovable and charming. So and Frank can have that like a little bit, but not really. So those are the four. That's like if you're talking about your trifecta, the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, and all that stuff, the Mount Rushmore of Netflix. Those are the four. I think the rest are all expendable, all you could throw aside, and that's where, even to my case, and I'm going to ask Maddie's question here in a second about Bullseye. Unfortunately, I think he's expendable. I think his performance as Point Dexter is really good, but I don't think they look at it and go, we definitely need him, especially if they're going to mask him up. We don't need that. Plus, my feeling that might be kind of bad is Mike Coulter and what's his name, Finn Jones. I think everyone likes Mike Coulter a lot, but I still feel like it's similar. People go, we could probably have someone still play Luke Cage. Most people don't like Finn Jones, so there it is. There's not much fanfare there. And even LD Young, like I think people all would look at it and go, oh, she's great as Elektra, but I don't see so many people like, you gotta bring her back. You gotta bring her back. I still see that, but for every time I see that, I also see this person would be perfect as Elektra, and this person would be perfect. So it's not this love affair that other people have with the other characters. And that's where I think Bullseye's kind of at risk there of, do I think he'll be in the show? Yes, because I think they're going to play off season 3. I think they are going to do that loose continuity. It is, but we don't have to directly talk about it. We don't have to talk about the hand. We don't have to talk about a building falling down in New York or anything like that. But with Bullseye, or with season 3, it's set up Bullseye. Let's give them fucking Bullseye. That's something they could do. They can give him a great costume. Hopefully look comic accurate. I don't care if it is really cheesy. The same way as like, what was his name? It wasn't comic accurate, Crossbones' costume Civil War, but it was damn cheesy, and I loved it. So I hope they do the Bullseye head, the black leather, the white Oliver, like do that up. Who could play him? We're going to talk about that in a second. Let's see. Trust Matt was No Way Home. Any chance we could see Peter in a scene? Who is Peter? Says Chris. No, I wish, but in a different world, right? If this was, we had the rights to Spider-Man, absolutely. I'm like you, Hines. I'm like Brent. I grew up on that animated show. That was one of my favorite episodes because back in the day, like thinking about this, Ellie, when she was born, she's going to be 1 in a month and a couple days. She was born with the entire Infinity Sock. That's gonna mean nothing to her. The same way when people are like, Wizard of Oz, the first film with color, you're like, oh, that's a cool little fact. She didn't have to go through what we went through of like the X-Men in Spider-Man or Daredevil in Spider-Man or even Punisher. It's like, man, we're getting a crossover of different characters on my TV screen. This is the greatest day to be a fan ever. Lo and behold, what we would know, right? So I don't think that would happen unless there's an extended deal and more appearances put on. And if that's the case, I don't think Tom Holland would be a one and done scene because that would be appearance. I think they would sign on for a multiple deal. Like, hey, they would almost make one season of Daredevil worth a movie. Like, let's say whatever it took to film Infinity War and Endgame, and maybe that counts as two. So whatever it took to film one of those split in half, they'd say, we want that time for the Daredevil show, not a per appearance, like almost a per like set day. That I could see, but we've just been so fucking quiet on the news. You know, like it's on Spider-Man front. It's been so quiet on Spider-Man that I'm not getting worried. I think a lot of it is probably contractual stuff as far as just Zendaya's getting super fucking busy. She's doing Dune right now, and then I think it's Euphoria. They need to lock her down quick, and sooner the better, because her star's only rising, and the more they got to pay that woman, and she deserves every little thing. But it's been so quiet, you know, and it sucked because after Spider-Man No Way Home, it was like, oh, there's rumors of a new contract. There's rumors of Garfield, more Tobey, Emma Stone. So I don't know what the deal is. I especially want the Spider-Man 4 stuff. I just really want, what is it? I really want more of the other guys too. Like, I'm definitely being greedy. As I've said before, what I want the most is Emma Stone back as Spider-Gwen with Andrew Garfield. I think that is just prime for success. I don't know what they're sitting around waiting for. They have Madam Web, they have Kraven. I don't know if it's just like, it's not like Marvel or MCU where it's like, we got to wait for this phase and then we'll get to the Spider-Man stuff. It's like, no, you guys aren't doing anything else other than these fucking Sonyverse movies, right? I do think, though, Morbius happened, and then we got Kraven in January, and then we got Madam Web next year. I think it's like in the, you know, Chris, if you're still in the chat, let me know. It's the fucking blueprint on your guys' show, and oh my god. But someone let me know in the chat. Madam Web, I think it's like the fall next year or something like that. Either way, I think these are two films that have a very good chance of not doing well. And now, as bad as this sounds, I've not liked Venom. I gave like a passing like 5 out of 10. The rest are all fails as far as Morbius, Venom 2, right? For me. I guess I think I gave more. Actually, okay, sorry. I think I gave Morbius a 5 out of 10. So there you go. I passed it. But the thing is, there's part of me that does want those films to. There you go. Clay got it. Clay, Chris Webb, Chris Balga, S Bubs, they're too busy memeing in the chat about Madam Web and Madam Web's a blueprint and everything like that. And all these other questions, S Bubs, Caleb, I'm going to get you in a second. I'll just finish my point here about Spider-Man. But Fanboy Clay says October 6, 2023. I think I did first showing not too long ago, and I don't think so much was out there. But let's take a look here. First showing. You know, I'm going to take an ad break, and then we're going to talk to the chat a little bit. We're going to talk about, we're going to continue with this Bullseye thing, because Maddie has a question about it as well. And, you know, this is what I love. There's, you know, only a few people watching, but thank you for keeping the conversation going, because, you know, not too much going on today as far as news, but you guys always keep it interesting. So I'm going to take an ad break. I'm going to pull first showing to see out what else is coming out in January or October, and then we will be right back. And we're back. So 2023. Kraven, I don't think is a bad thing, because Kraven, like, look at January. This is pretty much just turning into how do we get Tom Holland and Daredevil. As Bub says, Tom Holland in each episode for 29.9 minutes. That'd be great. But even then, each episode, that would be a lot, right? And everything like that. But actually, I'll talk to the chat here before I continue on. Either way, what I think is going to happen with Bullseye is I think he will be in it. I think there's a high chance that he gets recasted. And I'll talk about who, because that's what you can do on Patreon. You send a question beforehand or be in a live chat. For recasting rumors, do you think, S-Bub says, do you think Isaiah Gonzalez Electra has any chance of being true? Yes, I do think it has a chance of being true. As I've said before, I think I'm 50-50 on it. She's a rising star. It makes sense. She was very good in Ambulance, but then there's other times where I've just seen her be fine. So I'm not opposed to it. I think there's worse choices out there. Again, if you ask me if it's LD or her, 100% her. But I think that they look at Elektra, not much fanfare, and I think the people with not much fanfare, they're going to go and get some names are rising stars, that's Isaiah Gonzalez right there, you know? So Caleb Richards says, I wonder, given more leaks of trademarks, especially the Eternity Saga and the Timeless Saga, I wonder if that's the end of the MCU. I mean, they could potentially reboot after those sagas. They could. I think it's just that I'm fully in the camp of other people. I do think one of these would be the Mutant Saga. Now, why I've kind of walked that back a little is the Mutant Saga. I go back and forth, right? Because the Mutant Saga, you would make it think like, oh, this whole 3 phases are about just the X-Men and just the mutants or whatever they're going to call them, X Factor. But at the same time, it could be like, if the main plot line is around mutants, it works. But the Eternity Saga is, both of them are strange names, but at the same time, like even Multiverse Saga, I feel like if someone, Feige came over here and said, hey, Travis, come here. I'm like, yeah. Next saga is called the Multiverse Saga. Right away, I go, okay, I know what they're doing. Timeless and Eternity, I don't know. So Caleb Richardson is right about, they do sound like almost game ending, like this is it for everything. And I'm fine. I talked about this on the Vodka stream a couple nights ago because Stephen Colbert, he tweeted something out about, man, when MCU and Star Wars reboot, it's going to be really tough. I agree to an extent for some fans. I think Star Wars, that's going to be very tough for people. But I'm the same person that says, go fucking remake Lord of the Rings, go make Harry Potter. I still got my OGs. Because guess what? If they make another version I like, I got fucking 2 versions. Star Wars, I think, is going to be a lot harder because people are so tied in with that nostalgia, right? Marvel, I think, is a 50-50 because I got Steven's point of people are going to be pissed. They're leaving a universe. They're leaving characters behind. But at the same point, I'm at the... I said this in the most non-cocky way. MCU's won so much that we can do a reboot. I've said this before. If after Endgame, if Feige said, hey, these next stories, we're starting over. We're doing a different universe, a different, whatever. Here we go. I would have been fine because we just got this fucking great this great saga. Like Endgame could have, they left a few things open, but you could have ended the MCU right there and been fine. So I think it will eventually happen. I don't know. That would be, so let's say if each saga, because what is that? 2026 to 2020, right? That's when WandaVision came out. So that's 6 years. So if every saga was 6 years, there was 2 more. So it'd be 2032 and then 2038. So you're telling me in about 16 years, MCU's done reboots? I could buy that. That I could buy. that seems to track and everything like that. So let's see here. So back to that, and then I see some more chat, so I will get to them in a second. So Craven, good month. Nothing's really out. Babylon, but that's that Damien Chazelle, the guy who made La La Land and not Whiplash. Yeah, Whiplash, fucking just banger movies. Craven can run that month as long as it's not shit. But here's the thing. That's Avatar time. And that's why January is so empty right now. Even Ant-Man is February 17th. There is a chance that Avatar, if it has the same success, which we're going to talk about in the next topic, as the first one, it could run game for a couple months. And Craven will get lost in that. It'll have I don't even know if it'll have a good opening weekend. I really don't. I hate to say it. I don't see that doing well. I see Madam Web doing less well because I just feel like, especially October, things get busy. But Craven, if I had to pick, I think Craven would do a little bit better unless Madam Web is holding something back we don't know. Like at one point, people were saying there's like all these women they're casting are playing different versions of Madam Web or Spider characters and stuff like that. And maybe if you really emphasize like a Spider Woman, I'll take it back. But as of right now, my mind would be on Craven. But let's jump all the way to October. My God. So Madam Web comes out October 6th. And then, so that's why right now there's only a few movies listed. Madam Web, October 6th with True Love. I don't know what that is. And then the next week, Exorcist. So at that point, not bad. I think you could make some money there. Blue Beetle, August 18th. Let's hope. What is True Love? Let's say True Love is. But things are going to get by Gareth Edwards. Okay. No plot. Okay. But, things are going to get added in the October slot or pushed back. Like if DC does a bunch of pushbacks, you could easily have Flash in October right there, fucking around with it. So, and that's funny because originally Madam Web was like caught in between Flash and some things. So not bad release dates for both, but Craven has to look out for Avatar and Madam Web has to look out for whatever they delay there. So, let's get to the comments here. Kayla Richards said, I kind of hope Tom Holland's Spider-Man appears at least in Secret Wars, and then Sony sets Spider-Man 4 immediately following Secret Wars to capitalize the symbiote saga. I agree, but my problem is just that that means we're not getting Tom Holland in another MCU thing until 2026 or 2026? I don't know. That's that's really tough. And to go to our own questions here, will there be a Spider-Man 4 before Avengers 5? Absolutely, but I don't know if it'll be with Feige and company, because I think that Sony most time has waited. I think it's been every 2 years. I'm pretty sure that tracks every 2 years since doing a Spider-Man one. So for me, I I think they'll definitely do it. But if they do it, could they say, "Oh yeah, we're still gonna"? Let's say Feige talked them, said, "Is Spider-Man going to be in or no, we want Spider-Man in the next Avengers movie." Okay, so he's like, "Great, that sounds great for us. That's in the contract. Plus, he's in Avengers, lots of coverage for us. Great. When is that? 2026. You go, "Oh, okay, that's quite a while. We're gonna make another movie now." That's the pivot of, okay, are we a part of that? And if Sony says no, but we'll just make sure we don't kill the character off, or is it okay, Feige's on board, but then that means probably more deals, right? So all of us have brought up, right, that there's so many spots, maybe other than Fantastic Four, we can't see where Feige's gonna fit in before that, but we'll see. Let's see. Always wondered if you guys are bothered about growing. ET audience. Are you saying YouTube? Always wonder if you guys are bothered on the game. Clarify what you mean by that question. Bothered? We would like to, but like we're just happy there's anybody growth and watching and stuff like that. There's stuff we'd love to do with YouTube, but it's just a time thing. As far as like the same way we do cutouts for our podcast, if you look on the feed, people might ask, how come? I remember the first time I did it, Family Clay was like, why is there fucking 10 episodes of my podcast feed? Because we did surveys and ask, and people, like, we put the full episode up and then we do the cutout. So if people's just a Marvel person, a DC person, they have the option of, I could just skip the episode and watch that. There's still ads them because we need them to be supported. We used to do that with YouTube. The problem is with YouTube, the video rendering, especially now that we're in HD quality stuff, it takes so much time. So it's not worth what we get back. Like YouTube, like it's such a joke. There's videos that we'll do thousands of views on, and you'll get $1 or $2, legitimately. Like, and go look at Jenny Nicholson. She's a massive YouTuber, right? She just tweeted out, I think it was like last few weeks, and I shared this Taylor. She had a video that had it's like 1.2 million. You know what she got on that video? $12. 12, actually, I think it might be more than that. I think it might have been, like, it was a high video. It's like $12 because YouTube, like, I don't know if this is right. YouTube sucks. It's great to have live shows and host them. Twitch we'd like to do, but the problem is with Twitch is you can't. We were doing that with Twitch, but when we're affiliates, you can't stream anywhere else, and you have to wait a full day to post stuff. It's so there's all these goals that we want to do with YouTube, and we would like to do more with it, and we try to, but it's a give or take. And right now, like the podcast forum, that's where we make podcasts, and Patreon, that's where we make our bread and butter, and that's how we can expand. And same thing with the podcast network, like Geek Ultimate Alliance. Like, we make our baseline on the audio. The video is great. Video, like, honestly, there's a part of us that should probably take the video away because people could watch. But that's why YouTube gets baked with a lot more ads and stuff like that. Chris Boggs says Timeless Saga is getting ready to kick off in Marvel Comics. Oh, well, there you go. That's good timing, hey? No pun intended there. Espa says Eternity Saga, a spin-off film for each Eternal. Oh, S-Bobs, I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban you. In the comics, Carol Richards says, in the comics, pretty sure Eternity Saga was the multiverse being comprised in one universe, and the recent Timeless Saga in the comics immediately follows that. Yeah, that's true, and I think that's what it's going to be, is one universe. People have joked about, oh, you'll get multiple people put into one universe, kind of like the ending of Crisis or the ending of Secret Wars, where, oh, you could have, that's why the X-Men are here. Only time will tell. Let's see. I said in 15 years, Feige would jump ship, so that makes sense, says Fenn McClay. Yeah, it all depends on what happens. Because what happens if Chapek gets pushed out and maybe Feige climbs up? But I think saying Feige might not be in charge of the MCU in 15 years, I would say that is 100%. Because he could be gone or in a different division of Disney, like higher up. So that's where I would take that bet in general. Avatar 2 is going to be like December to July. I hope not that much. That's a lot of time. Let's see. $12. Jesus. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Jane Nicholson delivers a lot more than $12 per video. She's great. Well, luckily, you can go look at her Patreon. She's fucking killing it. If you even look at like the lowest amount you could donate and then times that by what she has, she's doing fine, and she definitely deserves it. She puts in a lot of work and stuff like that. I fell off because she was covering a lot of geek stuff when she's started, and I still like Jenny Nicholson a lot, but it's just like the stuff she covers now. Like, I'm not gonna watch a 30-hour video about My Little Pony universe, but her fucking audience loves it, right? But that's where that happens, right? In YouTube, they just fucking, they kill you, man. It's the worst. It's a good video. No, watch them take down this video. It's a good video hosting site, and it does create opportunities and things like that. But it was much, much better when we started around the 2016, 2017 era. I was talking about that on the vodka stream, where we could do a trailer reaction. You could get thousands of reviews, and you could just pump up subs, which was good because you could easily find people. Now it's the algorithm. It's just really based. I think it's based to like people that are already big YouTubers, because they don't really have to spread that money around much more. But hopefully one day there'll be a YouTube killer and we'll be on it and stuff like that. So let's see. But yeah, anyways, to answer, let's see. I could see Craven moving last minute like Morbius kept doing. Yeah. It could. There's a chance. Cal Richard says both Avengers are in 2025. Right, they are in 2025. We get to Spider-Man in December 2025, like No Way Home. We could. I do think that second Avengers movie is going to be pushed. I've said that since day one. Hashtag Trash told you. I'm sticking to it. That's not happening. Feige's grooming a number one creative producers, Brad Winderbaum, Nate Moore, Jonathan Schwartz, for example, could take over. I think that'll happen. I think there are people even in place now that, let's say, if he were to jump ship or, God forbid, pass away, that would take over almost immediately. So I think Feige at some point, yeah, he will be gone. It'll be a sad day. But at the same point, I'm not too sad, because it's like, man, he went on a legendary run. And it will be a fun time in podcasting world when you get that new person. And then it's going to be like, man, can they do well or could they not do well? We'll see. So this has been a fun detour of conversation. It started as, Daredevil and Bullseye. Now we went to Spider-Man. But to answer Maddie's question, this is what you can do on Patreon while you're supporting us. Thank you everyone that does support us there. At any tier, you can send in a question. And he asked, who would I don't even know why I'm looking it up. I know what he asked. It's just like by habit. He asked who I would cast as Bullseye if it didn't happen. Again, my personal choice would be, bring the guy back. He has some history with Charlie Cox already. You can keep bringing that over that universe. But I could see the case of like, hey, we could get a sexier name attached to this. I think the two that have popped up in my mind, the biggest one being Boyd Holbrook, actually, because he's in Salmon right now, which I'm watching. Very good so far. I've never read the comic book. People just are fucking loving it. And so far, I've watched episode 1, which is a lot of setup, but really beautiful show. Episode 2, there's some dark stuff going on, but liking what I've seen so far. I'm hopefully going to have it done at least by next week, because maybe I could review it. But so far, it's really good. I didn't know he was in that, so that's fantastic. He was in Logan. That's where I fell in love with the guy. You need someone that can be sleazy, that has like a shit-eating grin, but can be completely evil. Like that, you need that evil grin, like you just want to punch him in the face. Both guys have done that good. The guy who played Point Dexter, and they got Colin Farrell. Fantastic. He was that sleazy, like you just want to get your hands on. Bullseye's such a little shit disturber, and he's such an asshole. And like he's one of those characters that maybe has no redeeming qualities about him, right? So that's, to me, Boyd Holbrook could do that. You look at Logan, and he's very charismatic. People have compared Bullseye to like a toned down Deadpool at times. You get that a little bit in the Daredevil movie with Colin Farrell. So that's the one. And the other one is Charlie Hunnam. Now, will it be? Obviously, the fan cast for Hunnam is that you want him to. Everyone wants to be Green Arrow, and I 100% do want him to be Green Arrow. I still laugh all the time that I think it was Vero, that fan that just destroyed Zack Snyder's page by just asking him over and over, Charlie Hunnam Green Lantern, Charlie Hunnam Green Lantern. Like, man, it was just so funny. That's where the like, will it be? What was it? Charlie Hunnam as Green Lantern or Green Arrow? Will it be? And he just tweeted that at Zack Snyder like 100 times. It was some fucking wild stuff. But he's another guy. There's times where he gets dark in Sons of Anarchy, where I looked at, and I guess I picked both blonde guys, but I guess because blonde guys, I guess that's saying something about me. It's just like, I feel like they can look very arrogant and very cocky and just very, very evil, very mischievous, and like not Loki mischievous, just like psychotic, and I think those two could do it. But Boyd would be my pick. So those are my two for Daredevil. So Luz Berry says, I hope Wilson comes back as Ben Poindexter for Thunderbolts, Daredevil Warren. I hope John comes back as Punisher too. Yeah, I think Thunderbolts is a perfect place. That'd be great if we introduce And Thunderbolts is after Daredevil, so maybe not. So I guess you'd probably get Bullseye there and then get him in Thunderbolts. I thought it'd be great if you put Bullseye in Thunderbolts and then he transitions back into Daredevil, but that would be fantastic. Aaron says, will they recast Foggy or keep it the same? It's been a rumor that they're coming back, which I hope. Yeah, Lewisberry is right. That's been the rumor that those two actors are coming back. Now, those ones, they kind of probably someone say, oh, they fall in that same thing that you're talking about as far as the fanfare and recasting. Like, they're not super famous and there's not like huge fanfare around them. I just think because they're such minor characters, people wouldn't care too much, So that like not care too much, but I mean like. Yeah, we can bring those people back. They're not going to be leading franchises or anything, right? So, when does Daredevil get that black suit, says Pickens? Obviously, I imagine you're probably speaking like almost Shadowland, like that type of black suit, not the black ninja suit. At some point, the good thing about MCU, these characters stick around and they're happening, all the time, or the things are happening all the time, different appearances, different movies. I think we'll get to see Daredevil in multiple costumes, and then eventually get back to the red Daredevil one. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but with that yellow one, it is good to see that the trim and the texture is the exact same as the Netflix one. But I even would be down for a change up. So I think you'll get Daredevil in multiple costumes. I think he'll eventually end up back in the red one. I think they just want to put their own stamp on it that, hey, this is our Daredevil, but he's a bit different. I could see in Born Again that yellow suit getting burnt to shit or something, and that's when he gets a new one and updated. So Caleb says, and before Feige, after finishing up the first iteration MCU, goes to Netflix take over the Christmas movie cinematic universe. Oh, absolutely. Let's do it. I can't wait for that to happen. So let's see. Jon Favreau confirmed back as Feige says as Buzz with Matt Murdock. I still wish I got Ben Affleck in Multiverse of Madness, or that was the rumor, right? I wish that I hope it happens in Secret Wars and everything like that. We'll see. But All the Game says a dark, gritty Black Widow 2 with Yelena as Kate as the co-leads that ties into Cat 4, that ties in Thunderbolt. That would be interesting. Now, here's the thing, though. I don't. There's a chance, but to me, if you put Kate and Yelena back together, I don't think you can get dark and gritty. You can have moments, but I think everyone wants the elevator scenes. I think they want the road trip adventure type of movie, right? With like more, it would probably be quite more comedic. So I think you could probably get like a dark and gritty Black Widow, but if you do like a Black Widow and Hawkeye, I think that's probably going to be more, I'd say fun loving, more just a good time. But yeah, well, we went longer on that topic than I anticipated. So thank you to the chat for talking about Daredevil and Spider-Man and everything like that. Let's take our next ad break, and then we're going to talk about Sonic, and we're going to talk about Avatar. So we'll be right back. Guess I should take a drink, eh? That would be helpful. So today it was dated that Sonic 3 is coming out. I think it's December. Oh, bad podcast. I was bad kitty. But it's I think it's like 24th or something like that. Let's see if I can get it before the chat gets me. The good thing is there's a delay in the chat. So actually, I guess it was late last night. So they might beat me because I'm going to be scrolling. December 20th. Don't forget about the wrestling. Don't worry, Pickens. I won't forget about the wrestling. We're going longer, but I don't think these topics will be as long as that one was. But December 20th. So it's coming out the same day as Avatar 3. So, Spubs, I beat you. You're going to be watching the replay that time at it. But, so it's coming out the same day as Avatar. Do I think this is going to stick? I'll say no, but I don't think it has to move. I don't think it's like a case of like Shazam. And I know people might be like, why with what you're about to say? Sonic to me is very much in that family category, right? And people go, oh, well, Shazam, that's a family movie. That's a family comic movie. It is, but I still don't think it has that reputation of let's get the kids together or the safer audiences, right? I think now this conversation completely changes after Avatar 2 comes out. Avatar 2 is one of my most anticipated things to cover, not only just the movie, but just the success after. Because even if it has a lower first weekend, that's what the first Avatar did. Remember, Avatar came out and it had a low weekend. Everyone's like, oh, James, like all the headlines. I remember my daddy bringing that up, like, oh, looks like Avatar's not doing well. It's like James Cameron's gamble like doesn't pay off or something like that. And the thing is, it kept staying at that rate, and they kept building and building and building. Now we're in such a different time with streaming and so much more content, and even just the fact of that 3D was an event. Will this 3D be an event? Like for me, again, I don't care how good it looks in 3D. James Cameron, you're not making me pay for 3D unless, and I bet what's gonna fucking happen is all those Thursday previews are gonna be just 3D, 3D, 3D. I'm gonna go fuck. But this whole conversation about Avatar 3 all depends on what happens with Avatar 2. Does it have, and I do not think it's going to me, if it's not the biggest or the 5th biggest movie of all time, I think Avatar is still the biggest because it took its crown from Endgame. But I don't think it has to have close to or the same or beat Avatar 1 to be considered successful. That's not it. And anybody that tries to paint it out that way, to me, they're wrong. That's not it. So much has changed. But how, and I think it will be a hit. Now the question just is how much of a hit, right? Because I live in a universe where, people talk to me about movies all the time, right? Because I podcast, this, that, they want to say something. Avatar never comes up in my personal life. People talking to me about podcasts, it just doesn't come up. People, I won't say don't care about it, but it's just like it went away. But it has been a long time, and maybe this hype is going to get people back. I think that trailer needs a little bit more, but at the same point, they could just sell it on, hey, Avatar's back, come see the event. But the thing is, I think with the sequel, you get that event feel of, oh my goodness, here we go, we're coming back, Avatar, Na'vi, what is it, Pandora, let's jump back in that universe. I think you lose a lot of that with Avatar 3, unless Avatar 2 is a banger, unless it has that GV juice. You will lose that. I think the movies will be successful and make money and do well, but to be a bigger event, I don't know. We saw it with Star Wars, where a lot of mix of things. All those trilogy movies made $1 billion, but it was going down and down and down. And I don't know if they would have done a Star Wars 10 right away if it would have hit $1 billion, right? Because it was going down. But still, made $1 billion. And that to me is, anyone still writes off Skywalker as a disappointment. Quality-wise, debatable. Financial-wise, no. $1 billion, like the fact that that's how bad 2019 was as far as like people, like the box office getting greedy and making so much money. The fact that people would talk about a sequel hitting $1 billion being like lackluster or underwhelming. It's like, man, you really don't get it. You don't you don't understand. Now there's different ways you could talk about that argument as far as what did for the future of the franchise, but as far as Skywalker, no, man, it's funny. So yeah, GV Juice. That's why I love that Juice gif. I'm gonna get Taylor. We there's a lot of T-shirts we want to make, but Juice. That's what I'm calling as my next, Travis totally, that's the name of the show. But when I'm hyped, I'm Juice. That's the way it is. But now, probably, I'm sure people think it's roids or something. But no, it's GV Juice. That's the way it is. But ridiculous to expect the sequel to do 2.8 billion, 100% all in the game. And that's where it's just like, people, but what's going to happen. That narrative's going to be out there. It didn't make the first one. It didn't make the top 10. It didn't do this or that. Now, if it has like a catastrophic, like let's say it makes under 500 million, I will look at it and go, you know what? That's a disappointment, because these movies cost a lot, and then they filmed a bunch already, or they're filming a bunch and stuff like that. So that's where it all depends. But to me, if it clears $1 billion, I don't even think it has to clear $1 billion to be like a hit. But I feel like if it's $1 billion, that's done deal. I feel like to me, it's like the 800 plus range. I know that even sounds low, but it's just times have changed, and like it's a sequel. But we'll see. But either way, what I was going to say, let's see, Piggins says, I never saw the first one. I never knew that the hype behind it, and I'm 25. I think that's a lot of people, right? That's the thing where it's just, when Jake Sully appears on the screen, he will get No Way Home level audience reactions. I don't think people, you go on the street and you ask, who's Jake Sully? I tell you, I know it's the biggest movie of all time. I guarantee you 0 out of 10 people know who you're talking about. 0 out of 10. Maybe Hollywood, you get 1 to 2. No one knows who Jake Sully is. I'm telling you, you're not getting that level of hype there. But so why with Sonic, I think you'll lose some of that feel. And I feel that Avatar could be a movie for 4 quadrants for everybody, right? But for the youngins that just want to see a popcorn adventure, nothing too scary, nothing that they have to think too much about, just like an enjoyable family movie. That's Sonic 3, and that's why even Shazam, that to me is like in a similar category of Avatar. It's going in that older audience of families. Sonic 3, to me, that is kids, or if you have nostalgia for the games, or you're a geek like podcaster or listener, right? But I mean, like for Avatar and Sonic's audience, there is some crossover, but I think it's a lot less than Avatar and a superhero film. So even if Sonic 3 stays, now Sonic 3, I know everyone's doing their Sonic sweep jokes and all this because it beat Morbius, it beat Birds of Prey. it ain't gonna do it again. Even if Avatar 2 is disappointing, I'd still have my money on Avatar 3 to beat Sonic in the long run. But I still think it would make money. It could have a good run. It's Christmas time, and that's where I got to bring up S. Bub's question here. He sent in on our Patreon. So thank you very much, sir, for always being our guy and share, but also supporting us there, creating content like the show and everything like that. I don't even think I did the plugs. Patreon, you can join after 9. It's happening next Sunday in the morning. That's gonna be fun. It's I think I accidentally announced this Saturday. I think because, long story short, I announced it and podcast like, oh no, that didn't work because I was busy. So we're doing Sunday after 9. It's gonna be 9 a.m. PST. Lots to talk about. Our cast with our wives and girlfriends hosting together on there. Exclusive episodes. Soon we'll be recording our DC reboot cast, which is gonna be lots of fun. And you get episodes ad free, early exclusive. And the more you support us there, the more we get back as far as being able to put in time for this, create new episodes, new shows, etc. As episodes, I feel like if Sonic moved to the 27th, it could do even better. With that release, you could do a fan screening on Christmas Day, 26th. I guarantee it would be big, especially if there's well-received Sonic game that releases that year. Kids might be getting it for Christmas. I don't think you're 100% wrong. FAMically say, oh, I think it's 100% sweep. I will bet you a pizza. I think we've done this before. I don't know if it was on the Ahsoka beating Loki thing. I'll send you money to buy a pizza or vice versa, which means you'll buy me 2 pizzas because American money is worth more. I'll make an easy pizza bet that there's no way Sonic 3 is going to sweep Avatar. And if he says, yes, it takes this bet, I got to start making a list of all our bets. There's no way. I don't see that at all. But it's funny because at first I would say no because I've been trained. It's so funny that watching movies on Christmas, absolutely, in my home. One of my favorite things was to do was, because my parents were divorced, do the dad's Christmas, do my mom's Christmas, and usually I end up at my mom's because my dad was in Vancouver. It's a 4-hour drive from here. We do that. Christmas come down, and he'd usually join my mom's family Christmas because at the end of the day, pizza bet. Okay, everyone remembers pizza bet. I'm going to have to write it down after. We should... Somebody in the Discord right now make a pizza bet channeled in there and document our pizza bets because this is another one. And other people can do pizza bets too. And nothing too crazy, nothing like, I'd say a large with like 2 tops. I think that's a fair bet there. But we used to do the 2 Christmas, and I would love, as I said before, my parents got divorced, but they're best friends. So he'd be over there for Christmas, stuff like that. Next day is Boxing Day. I'd always be getting movies and games. But my favorite thing was we got leftovers, treats, candy, and all of us would just be laying. And that's the time where it's like, aunts, uncles, grandmas, we're all just laying, sitting, watching movies together. I still never once want to go. I'd sometimes do some Boxing Day shopping. Now online, I don't go in. I never want to go to the movies on Christmas. I love the movies. I love the movie theaters. No chance I'm going to the fucking movies during Christmas. But people love doing that because people always make the joke as far as like, oh, they don't want to be there around their families. I guess that's where I'm lucky that I love my family and even Emily's family. I don't have that. Like, there's so many times I listened to a roast recently, and I guess it's just not a route that my life went down as far as having a mother-in-law I dislike. I love my mother-in-law. Like, she's great with the kids, great with me. Like, she's above and beyond. I don't call her mom like a lot of other people do to their significant others, like mothers, but like love her mom. So I've luckily same thing. I'm not like, oh, we should get away from the in-laws and stuff like that. So, but people love that. People love seeing that. So I could see it happening. When you tell me it's like, oh, preview on Christmas Day, I go, ugh. Podcasting wise, S-Bubs, don't want that to happen. I don't want that pressure. And I would honestly just skip Sonic 3 and say, hey, we're going to review it next week. Usually we do that around Christmas time. I can't remember what else came out. There was some movie or a series that we were interested in. We're like, nope, not happening. So anyway, that's because I'm off. I'd seen a lot sooner. But I don't think you're wrong because movies just make money around Christmas. Even that era where it was Mary Poppins, Bumblebee, and Aquaman, they're all making, Aquaman was the top tier, but they're all making relatively good money because people are off and they just want to go do stuff. Or even then, the people I understand more, if you have a smaller family or if you live away and you want something to do, that I completely understand. I'm not trying to say, hey, if you see movies at Christmas, something's fucking wrong. No, it's just like, it's all situational. For me with family, I would never do that. So, bet for a Batman 2 Calzone. Oh yeah, in the shape of like, I don't know, Joker's messed up face and everything like that. But yeah, so that's where I think I think it will move at the end of the day. But if it doesn't, I think Sonic 3 will be just fine because its audience is catered to something else. And I think they're smart to get out in 2 years. They got to pump those fucking movies out. You know why they got to pump those movies out? I think they're fine. They're like five. I think I've like either failed one or made them both 50%. I think they're fine for an adult, but these kids, they're going to age. You don't want them to age. You don't want them to age out of this audience and Sonic's not cool anymore. You got to pump this out as fast as you can. So very smart to do that. Get to it, Sonic. And yeah, I think everything's going to be okay with those release dates. So let's get into the quick hits here. The quick hits, well, I'm going to take a water break here. H2O, Ricky Bobby, H2O. No, it's Bobby Boucher, not Ricky Bobby. Fucked up the quote. I would edit it out, but I'm going to leave it out. I'm going to leave it in there. I have an ego, as a significant other might say. Check out the Better Halves episode, because we're going to be responding to our couples. We're going to be more, they won't be on it, but I think we're going to be having questions. Like me and Tay have a lot of questions for Kirklin after we listen to that episode. But the quick hits, what does this segment do? This is just a bunch of quick fire news that couldn't be a main topic, but want out there either to talk about or just agree, disagree, what it may be. But the quick hits, which is not updated at all in here by myself, but that's what's gonna happen. I saw people are talking about Riri Williams, so we're gonna start there. Only Game says, glad Riri's villain is not another tech-based armored villain. Magic versus tech, that's more interesting. Oh, I hit voice to text and holy shit, the whole podcast thing when I was speaking just went into my notes. So there you go. So yeah, set photo came out. If you don't want to know anything, I guess tune off, but it's not anything crazy. It just reveals who the villain's going to be. Anthony Ramos was playing the Hood, and then you got her, which is there's rumored to be showing her Mark IV suit, and it's like completely practical, and it's looking like Iron Man 1 era of like, man, we actually got some actual suit going on. It's not probably because it's not Downey where he's like, I just want to wear the chest piece and that's it. No, she's all game. Or in the sequel for Ironheart, the series, she's like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that anymore. Like, give me that CGI thing. But it's looking cool. Like, that's been the rumor, or that's been the biggest like news going around, is that apparently the plot is gonna be more, armor magic. Armor magic. That's the plot. Magic versus tech. I'm down with that. I'm still, because I saw on the game some other people talking about like they're glad it's not a tech-based villain again. I would like in the season if we kind of got double, or at least do that in season 2. I think that I'm still down for the tech versus tech. I liked that aspect of Iron Man. I didn't have a problem with it, but I also didn't have a problem with Iron Man 3 getting into that more, extremist, those type of bigger, more sci-fi villains. So I'm down either way. We're getting magic in the MCU. We got Agatha, we got Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. Why not? So that all looks good. The other one that came out as well, MK2 is rumor. See, I've seen people saying it's the Mark IV going around. So I don't know. We'll have to see, because I guarantee you we see Mark 1 in Wakanda Forever, right? So Stark still created the villain, so we are good. Is that the rumor going around that he created the villain? You might be memeing, but if that's the rumor, oh my goodness, that's funny. There's another behind-the-scenes photo of her either just the chest plate or helmet on, the rest being a mocap suit. Okay, so it's still happening. We got... Good. We got the mocap suit back. Hopefully those FX artists get some time, because those suits aren't looking the greatest nowadays. They don't look bad. There's some times where it's just that floating head thing, right? But the other set photos we got was of Echo. It's Kingpin. D'Onofrio, know he was in it. He's in it. He's wearing the white classic suit. Great. He looks bigger. They've put like some padding in it. I'm glad. Remember those rumors around Hawkeye time that either someone was wrong or they just over embellished the information of like, oh yeah, he's gonna have a suit and it's to make him look bigger and everything like that. And we like the way it was reported almost as like a fat suit is like, oh why? And now it's just like, okay, it's some padding. He looks good. So you know what? Happy to see more Vincent D'Onofrio, as we'd say. So I'm down for that. Let's see, what are some other quick hits? Now they're all messed up. Oh my God, I fucked up my notes big time. Here we go. Do Revenge. Actually, I'll wait for that, because I'll talk about the DC news happening. The only things that came out right now are Craigie 2818 possibly, but people still need to be aware that these aren't continuation of the characters, need soft rebooted characters. Oh, Craigie, I think you're probably watching all the way back to the Daredevil segment, so good. Thank you for playing catch up and scrubbing, though. I very much appreciate that. So you'll probably see this. If not, I do agree with you that the ABC and Netflix shows have been put in their own universe. They do need to be aware, but at the same time, there's some people that just won't care. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but there's I think the GA that just watch it, they'll never know and they'll never care to know. They still think they'll still think Spider-Man's going to join Justice League at some point. So, but for us, it would be nice to get that clarification. To get some more clarification as HBO Max, today 2 reports were put out as far as it was Deadline and TV Line. We're talking about some things as far as this is out or this is in, like Kevin Smith's Strange Worlds thing got canceled. But the 2 things that Green Lantern is still in development. It's being worked on. They just want to get it right. Now, if that is true and they just want to get it right, I applaud them and I wish them the best. And I hope that's true because I want to see it. I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and by big I just mean I love the character. Actually, a Green Lantern shirt over there on the floor that I was just wearing yesterday. I don't know if he's in my top 10. Hal would be my guy because everybody did. It's so funny because everyone grew up with the Justice League anime show along with me, but Hal was just my Green Lantern because when I first picked up a Green Lantern comic before, that's who was the Green Lantern there, and I've loved his story. I loved, when he turned evil there for a bit of redemption. Hal's my guy. Love John Stewart, but I've just been, like everyone else, desperate for some Green Lantern concept. Love that world, love that character. I don't know top 10 of all the characters, but Green Lantern itself is definitely my top 10 DC characters. Even if it wasn't Hal, just the concept, great. I love the world. So much potential there that they're just sitting on and they're not doing anything with it. It's very frustrating. Do I believe this? Sure, Jan. Sure. I want it to happen, but it's been so long development hell, and I'm so happy where it's like, oh yeah, Finn Wittrock is still attached to play Guy Gardner and stuff like that. Like, great. I think he's playing Guy, right? Oh, which one? Let's see. Chat, you're gonna race me. See if it'll happen. But no. Let's see. He is playing Guy Gardner. Okay, I was right. That's great casting. Finn Wittrock could do that perfectly. Yeah, he's not ginger, but the character aspect he could. It all sounds great on paper. The anthology thing, interesting, all right, but still, let's see it. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, unfortunately. And that was the other news of the Black Canary film still in development. Yeah, fucking right. I just don't, and that's the problem, right? That all these things could be true, but after the Batgirl stuff, it's hard to believe it. And now you have to look at each project of what does Zazoff, this one guy, think they're worth this. Now, maybe we could really get to a point that, hey, as time goes on, the Batgirl thing really was just purely a tax write-off, and it's just, he thought, in his mind, and I still think wrongly, he thought that this was going to get him more money than releasing it. Plus, there's the DC continuity stuff. Because technically, if they don't do the hard reboot of DCU, Blue Beetle could still be fine. Black Canary could still be fine. But I just... It's strange that, It's strange that... if he looked at Batgirl as not being successful, but Birds of Prey, which is a very low box office DC film, to do a spinoff of that, I don't know. And that's where, again, it's just, I feel we're all torn over with we're all in a mix of what this guy is going to do. And that's where I don't feel confident about it. Do I like hearing these are still in development? Sure. I want this Green Lantern show. Sure. I want some more as Journey as Black Canary. That'd be great. Do I think they're going to happen? No, especially both, because I just feel like Green Lantern's going to be a bigger budget show, and he's kind of specified he doesn't want to do that with the shows. And Black Canary, I feel like, they're going to do HBO Max content, but it felt like it was going to lessen. So ask me in a couple months. I'll believe it when it's on my TV screen. That's when I'll really believe it. So do Revenge. This is something that came out. This is a trailer I'm looking really, really forward to. This is just like preppy school, mean girl stuff. But to me, it's pretty much... chat, let me know. Let's see how old you are. Have you ever seen Throw Mama Off a Train? To me, this was Throw Mama Off the Train, but glowed up. It is Camille Mendez, I think her name was. She plays what's her name from Riverdale? I watched for her. There's Archie, there's Jughead, there's Betty, and Veronica. She plays Veronica, and she's very good. She's somebody that I look at the show and I go, she's a lot better than these people. Like, she's a lot better than the writing this show. And then you got Maya Hawke. Pretty much, it's Throw Mom Off a Train. It's you have a now very different because that has to do with some bigger ex-wives and mums and murder and stuff like that. But this is you have a bully, you have a guy that ruined your life, you have a girl that ruined your life. You don't want to get back to them because they'd see it coming. What if we kind of swap tails and help each other get revenge? And I think this looks like so much fun. You got those two, which is already a great pairing. Sophie Turner's in it. The guy who I'm so mad. I don't like that Delmas is listening because he might try to steal it from me. But I forgot it. I put in my list next year. My superhero draft list for next year is looking fine. There's so many people that I don't even think the geeks know about, but I have to say this one, and I'm surprised Kirkland didn't take it either. He plays Ethan in Euphoria. I can't remember what's his name. Let's pull him up here. Ethan Euphoria. But he did this episode. If anyone watches Euphoria, you know the musical episode, right? Throw Me Off a Train is an 80s movie. Yes, Dan DeVito and what's his name? Billy Crystal, Austin Abrams. So he was a guy, I saw him in Scariest Stories to Tell in the Dark. And I think that's why I'm trying to be bad on actors. I was like, this guy, I just thought he's not the greatest. He's not that good. And I wasn't sure where I was going to see him again. He's good in Euphoria. Then the last season of Euphoria just fucking crushes it. Everyone knows the last episode of the finale, the musical episode. You know what this fucking guy could do. And I said to Emily, this is an episode that's going to go around Hollywood and people like talent scouts are going to be like, that fucking guy, like get that guy right there. And you're going to see him in a bunch of stuff. He's great. Jacob Elordi from Nate as Euphoria's MCU Cyclops. I could see it. He's a good actor. I could see it. There's probably just more people I want in that role than him. He's a tall motherfucker, so he tower over everybody. But I'd be down completely. He's a good guy. And then you can get Ethan in here as like, or Austin as like, I don't know, Bobby Drake or something. But this looked like lots of fun. This honestly is like a day one. This hits like some of those. I don't care if people don't like them or, because now I'm about to be 30. Oh, you can't watch high school drama stuff. No, this looks like tons of fun. The cast looks great. Even the style of the trailer and some of the edits was good. I hope that carries over in the film. So this looks like lots of fun. This looks like a lot of cast is just like a rising stars one. So I would definitely go check out the trailer. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it looks fun. I do think that Maya Hawke's character, because what happens is Camille is dating Austin Abrams, and he I think accidentally or does send out her nudes. There's this great moment in the trailer. It's like, and because I've hurt my girlfriend so bad, I'm starting the white cis looking after females club, completely taking how she feels and putting it on himself as taking a moment to make him better. It's not even in a dick way, just in a way oh, I feel so bad that I've done this. I gotta help, and he's helping the worst ways. But I do think there's a chance Maya Hawke might fall for him a little, and that could be fun. So we'll see. I think some hijinks are involved. That's September 16th. Can't wait. That looks great. And then my last thing on the quick hits here, because Pickens, then we'll get into some wrestling, is Prey. Most watched premiere in Hulu history for TV shows and for movies as well. And then they didn't specify, but I think they just said on Disney Plus are other territories. I think they said it was in Spain and other ones, stuff like that. So it made it sound like in Canada too. They weren't giving out Disney. Well, actually, they can't. Never mind. I was they can't give out Disney Plus numbers because maybe it didn't do as well there. No, because it's not on Disney Plus everywhere. For us, it is. So it pretty much made it sound I think in Canada as well. That Prey was the most watched premiere thing of something. I'd like to see what Salma's numbers are compared to all those, but I hope so. I hope that's all true. No, I'm not saying I don't think it's true, but I hope that it's true in a lot of markets, wherever they are be. I hope that it keeps getting watched. The buzz has been good. The buzz has been phenomenal for the movie, also for Amber. Mid-Thunder, not Mindhunter. That's been great. So it just feels like this is a real shot in the arm to the Predator franchises. There's so many people that go, I haven't seen Predator, but I saw Prey and it's great. I'm going to jump in the series. Now you're going to get a series of a lot of mixed bag, but actually I don't think there's a real bad Predator movie other than The Predator. The rest of them are all fine to really fun or good. Even Predator 2, which I suppose is going to hate me, but it's on D plus everywhere outside US. So there you go. So I think it said in most territories that it premiered high and stuff like that. High or first. That's what you want, right? And that shows where if you get buzz, even something just titled Prey, it works. And then you might be he's on the poster, everything, it's Predator. Yes, but just still, there's always a risk, right? The same way as when Logan came out, it wasn't Wolverine, Logan, stuff like that. But it shows if you got that quality of movie, it's happening. Do we get more? I hope so. The two things I want is I do want more, and I want Dan Trachtenberg back for anything, because he said they had talked about doing future plans and stuff we hadn't seen before. Whether that's with these characters, whether that's with different time areas, let Dan fucking do it. If he wants to do it, great. And I hope that we get a mini theatrical release next time. Even if it's just a week, that'd be great. The same way Netflix is doing them, I would love to see this on the big screen. That's where this felt like there's times where there's so many movies where it's like even Netflix will watch, this was fine. You know, like even The Gray Man with being a big action movie, it's like, no, this was fine. That's one where I was like, fuck, I wish I was in a theater for this, you know? So I hope they do that with the next one. Just great. It's great to see. It feels like it's just momentum happening. And to me, we'll see what happens. They're doing that Alien TV show with Noah Hawley. I hope that can happen because here's a Trash told you wrong. I was somebody when they first bought this stuff, I thought Predator and Alien are going to sit on the shelf for a while. Not just because they were rated R and very unfamily friendly, just because they were having kind of bombs recently. But I love that they're taking two IPs, worked with Prey, have to wait to Aliens, but they're seemingly trying to take two IPs. They're putting fucking Noah Hawley with Alien. They put Dan Trachtenberg with this one. They're putting great creatives behind it. And they're like, hey, even though we can't make it, you know, Disney, we can't put it, even though, please put Predator. We were talking about this in Discord. Put the Predator in a Marvel What If series. Please, one episode, please, I'm begging you. But even though it's like, hey, we're not going to make this on Disney Plus or in the Disney parks, but we got IP we could still use here. Let's use it. This also gets me very hopeful for Planet of the Apes, which is one of my favorite franchises. So this is all good news around. I'm really happy. Looseberry says Prey is the best of the franchise since the original. I wish they got released in theaters. I do, but I also get the point where everyone's like, see, you should have released it and it would have made so much money. We don't fucking know that. There's movies all the time that come out and it's like, oh, would have made so much money. Predator at the box office has not fared well over the years. Now, you could say because the movies have been meh or fine, like The Predator, and maybe this is something where Prey comes out, does well, people talk about, and a Prey 2 comes out, and you get a mini one, then okay, sure, now I'd go see it, but you got to kind of get that goodwill back. And also, we don't talk about this enough. As much as I'm excited to retro them as one day, and I'm excited, or as much as I get why they did them, I don't think... Other than The Predator, I think Predator is great. I think Predator 2 is lots of fun, and I think Predators is really underrated. I think if The Predator was just in there, it wouldn't be as bad. Those AVP films, I think, fucking hurt the brand. As much as, even though I'm saying, hey, do it again, and I think Disney could do it again and do it well, I think the quality of them did hurt that Predator brand overall. So who else Disney owns? Well, they got Alien, they got Predator, and then Rise of Planet, what I talked about. There's a whole list, Pickens, if you go look at who they got on the Fox one, but those were the three big ones for me. And Apes right now is currently, I think it's getting far along, because at one point, the guy who was directing someone was working on another project, but I was like, no, he doesn't have time. He's doing Apes. So those are three big ones. I think they own Home Alone, a couple other things, but Requiem is the worst. Yeah, man. I can't wait to do those podcasts with Ted. But I think those 100% hurt the brand. They really did. So when people talk about bad Predators movies, they talk about those too. But the actual Predator movies, to me, they're 4 for 5. And like this last one being fantastic. Check out GV podcast this week, GV509, when we go live on Thursday. We're going to be ranking them, all of them. So that'll be lots of fun. But Gray Man had no business being $200 million movie. Should have been stripped down movie made for 1/3 of the amount. Yes and no, because they had to get that talent, right? You had to get the Russos, had to get Gosling, you had to get Evans, who I don't understand who they paid for, which I get why you pay for her. Anna de Armas. Give her everything she deserves. I just go with that character they wrote for her. They could have got anybody. They could have got anybody for that, with the lack of screen time. But I agree. But that is the quick hits. We're going to take our last ad break. Let's see here. We're going to take our last ad break, and then we'll be right back with some wrestling stuff. So if you want to tune out, you can. Pickens, I know this is your time. And actually, again, a big thank you to everyone that has been reporting them on the podcast, because they've been doing pretty well. Maybe it's just because wrestling's hot right now. But we'll be right back for our last segment. And we're back. Before we get into that, Call Me Top Gun 45 is just coming in, but I swear they will be following the Michael Bendez dad run. Or DD run, not dad run. The run that takes place right after Kingpin is shot by Echo. It fits all too well. I agree 100%. Now, it's interesting because Kingpin becomes blind for a little bit, right? In these set photos, which easily could be flashbacks, he's not wearing a blindfold, anything. The rumor was he was just going to be missing or one eye wasn't working. But that might not be the case. We'll see. Yeah, I think that works. Oh, excuse me. Swallowed wrong there. No, I think that works. And I think that's kind of an angle they're going for. And what else do they do at Marvel? They take storylines and they adapt them. They don't do them like print by print, but they have a good kind of barometer of like, hey, we'll take this aspect, that aspect. So Top Gun, I don't think you're wrong there. So WWE. Oh man, what a week we're on, right? Let me take a drink of water before getting this week. Don't want to die on air either. So, yeah, we talked about this, right, already a couple weeks ago. SummerSlam, Vince gone, Triple H takes over, and I meant to review Raw. Ran out of time because that was the Batgirl day and all this stuff. So now it's week one of Triple H running WWE. So we've gotten 2 Monday Night Raws and a SmackDown. And what I'm going to say is 2 fucking thumbs way up for all of it. That's the segment. See ya, Pickens. No, I'm joking. But it's great. Now, am I saying these Raws are top 10, one of the best Raws you've ever seen? No. But they're even SmackDown. They're building to stuff. They're fixing the damage. It's like after, if you've had a relationship, you got broken up with them or you broke up with them and you're back together, you're not right away maybe sleeping in the same bed. You're not right away doing the fun stuff. You're not right away bonding and stuff like that. But you know there's a foundation there. You want to make it work. That's the thing where that's what this feels like. It's just the beginning stages. It's the dipping the toe stages. But to me, this product, 6 months down the line, I can't wait to see where we are Rumble, and I can't wait to see where we are fucking Mania time, because that Mania card, I'm telling you, it's going to be stacked. I know there's rumors going around that I should probably put this in the headline title, people listening, it's just so people click on it that aren't listening to the GeekVerse podcast. But these rumors of Rock coming back for Mania, that's been going around for a while, and I think you could do that. I think it's going to be a banger WrestleMania. There's rumors that he had set out a part of his schedule to drink Zoas, but also for wrestling, like that time of WrestleMania season, right? But then with the Vince stuff, it was kind of like, is this, oh my goodness, is this actually going to happen? And now it sounds like it's back on that still plan. I hope so. As much as I meme about The Rock, I love when The Rock's back in wrestling. For people that don't know, the current main guy, like the top star in WWE, the person that has the 2 world titles, is Roman Reigns. Who is Roman Reigns? That's his cousin. And his whole storyline, because there's multiple Samoan wrestlers in WWE history, but now currently, there's 2 twins named the Usos. He beat them up just to show that he's tougher than them, and he said, you need to join me and work for me now. I'm doing it very short version for the people that aren't in wrestling and they want to understand it. And now they're just with him because he beat the shit out of the cousins, and he keeps saying he's the head of the table. That's it, right? He's the head of the Samoan dynasty, stuff like that. The story is The Rock's music fucking hitting, and he's saying, you're not fucking top of this family yet. And oh my God, the story that they could tell 4 months is going to be great. I think there's so much meat on the bone there. Ending with Roman beating him. And this is a whole nother conversation that I don't think you need the title for, but I think that's happening. Triple H has done a fantastic job. He's bringing talent back, like we talked about this with SummerSlam and Dakota Kai and Io Sky now, which I don't know if they need to change your name, but fine. They brought back Karrion Kross on SmackDown, which is huge. It's so funny, which I do agree. Some people have it was a meme, but it's like, why don't you push your actual talent instead of just re-signing talent? I don't agree with the not re-signing. If you had a talented person and you viewed them as an asset, and your boss ahead of you didn't, just got rid of them, if you're the boss now, you're going to go get them. Let's say for some reason, for the podcast network, right? For some reason I had to step away, and someone came in and cleaned the house and got rid of those people. If I took control of GVPOD, I'd be like, I'm getting those fucking people back if I can. I work well with them. They work well with us. And that was the way where it's like, these people fit what we're doing here. Maybe not all for the WWE side. I'll get into that to a second, but I understand why Triple H brought one person back. But Karrion Kross, the thing I didn't understand is apparently in the Eternal Listens, he's listed as now heel number 2 on SmackDown. Heel is a bad guy, and they have a list, an Eternal roster, kind of like a ranking, right? Who's our top bad guy? Who's our second bad guy? Same way as a power levels in an MCU, right? Who's our tippy top characters and whatnot. For him to be gone and then just come back in number 2, and he's not even a massive star in the WWE, that's huge. That's a little favoritism going on there. But I'm fine with it. Karrion Kross, I think, is good. I know some people were memeing about, they showed that the image of the 3 dragons where 2 are looking badass and one's looking all goofy, and he was the goofy one. I think people are just having fun. I think he is a good asset to the company. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think it was very smart the way they re-debuted him, but that's what he's doing. He's bringing back people that he, got taken away from. Gargano, to me, has to be the next one. But to me, what has to happen, because they had fucking just water turned to wine. They had the best stuff happen once, and then the guy got taken down a couple notches, and then he came back and made his shit even better and created an even better character. Fucking Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, as much as I want to see him somewhere else in AEW, with Triple H running out, I'm completely fine with people staying. Because look at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, we'll get back to Bray Wyatt. Kevin Owens, one of my favorite wrestlers. And that's what this company does, is they make them not my favorite wrestlers, because then it's like if I have a top 10 of current wrestlers, which I should do maybe as a cutout one time, top 10 of current wrestlers, because they get booked so poorly or put in bad matches or situations, they start to go down my list, even though I know Kevin Owens is like a top 3 favorite of mine. I fucking love, like, currently, I know all the time, like, I love Kevin Owens, love his character, I love the prize fighter, right? You know, kill Steen, kill or fight Owens, fight, whatever it may be. They neutered him a lot when he got to the main roster. Vince neutered him a lot when he got to the main roster. And that's where it's like, Kevin Owens was injured. He was gone for a little bit of this whole takeover thing, right? He gets there, and Triple H is now running stuff. What does he do? And I saw Ezekiel in the ring. Ezekiel, he's like been having this. Okay, Kevin Owens had a match with Stone Cold. Everyone knows who Stone Cold had a match with Stone Cold. Stone Cold came back after, what was it? Almost 20 years. I think it was 19 years he came back. Yeah, 19 years he came back. Huge deal. He said we'd never wrestle again. He fucking wrestled again. He wrestled Kevin Owens. Then it's like, even though Kevin Owens lost, like, what you going to do with him? Oh, you put Kevin Owens in a comedy angle. Now, the Stone Cold match is worth it, but you put him in a comedy angle. And then for months, he's just been wasting away. He's injured. He comes back. Ezekiel's in the ring that he's been doing this angle with. And then the music hits. He's walking down the ramp, and I saw the look in his eyes. I saw the way he was walking. I'm like, he's going to fucking, I said something like, he's going to fucking squash Ezekiel. Just walk. He's going to squash him right now. And he did. A squash in wrestling means you just, squash in wrestling is, you remember what Thanos did to Hulk in Infinity War? That's what a squash is. A squash is you just completely decimate the opponent, and it makes the other guy or gal look stronger than them. And sometimes usually you use talent that are like local talent, nameless jobbers, enhancement talent to make people look better. So that's what they did to Ezekiel. And let's see, Kevin Owens' Universal run was top tier. I'll say it was really good. I don't know about top tier, because I still think like them putting him in the suit and stuff was a little off. And also, the storyline was top tier with Jericho, but it became more about the friendship than the title. And I wish they got that WrestleMania match with the title. Would have been better. But he came in like the prize fighter, like the killer Kevin Owens. And pretty much after cut a promo saying, I'm back. That's what I want to fucking see. One, just a better character. And two, just the reason why I fell in love with these people is I get that Vince has to put his little touch on people and how to change things up. But sometimes it would just be too much, or maybe he just wouldn't get the essence of that character. And I still think Vince would look at a guy like Kevin Owens and say, oh, this body, it's all right. Like, good thing he can talk and go in the ring, but his body, I don't know. But like Trips, like, I think that's not an issue with not everybody, with majority, right? So he's back, but with Bray Wyatt, that's another one where he gave them so much good stuff. And if you listen to that Matt Hardy podcast, supposedly him and Vince didn't get along. Vince was like pretty rude to him, would like down talk him a lot, as far as just like kind of being down, like, that's a shit idea. Like, and it sounded like he took it pretty personal. It sounded like it was not a good working environment mentally for Bray. And that's where it's like, that's not going to happen with Triple H. And I think that is, to me, that means a bit more. The same way as like Edge coming back. He had talks with AEW, right? Wouldn't have been the same. He had to go to WWE. Even at WWE at that point that had this shit creative, had to for the moment. I think Bray is kind of like that, because you need that redemption run. That's where I do want to see him in AEW, but now that Triple H is running stuff, I do want to see him go back to WWE, because I feel like there's unfinished business there in a sense, right? So booking's been good. There's been lots of solid wrestling and like letting matches have time. They created this women's team tournament. The team's titles went away for a while because Sasha and Naomi left, and they're doing a tag tournament to kind of crown their champions. Are the teams random? Sure. But I'm just happy they're doing it. I'm happy that's what's going on with the thing, and they're not just forgetting them. And again, wrestling, maybe we'll get some good storylines out of this. So that's all good stuff. Bringing back people's good stuff. But I'll give you my number one positive before I end the show here. My number one positive is, so during the show last night, they're doing an interview, right, with Kevin Owens. Like I said, he is yelling. He said, I'm back, blah, blah. In the background, you just see a car crash into a wall. That's it. It's out of focus. It's not a big deal. No one says anything about anything with this car. Okay. Cut to like an hour and a half later, people are doing interviews again. In the backstage, you see the car a little bit. You see EMTs and like ambulances going by, stuff like that. You're going, what the fuck is going on with this car? Like, what's the deal? And then the main event happens. And I think also to time that, the main event was AJ Styles versus Miz, which I thought something big was going to happen. It kind of did. But like, it was a good match. I'm hoping that even Miz gets a better run too. Miz should not have had a fucking 3-run WWE title or 3-week WWE title run. He's putting so much work. He could be a top heel. And I think Triple H could see that. And saying AJ, I think he's fine to be like Jericho, where he's a main eventer, mid-carder. But he should be more upper main than like what he's been doing recently. But that spawned after Tommaso Ciampa, or I guess just Ciampa now, and Lashley, right? Ciampa didn't win, but I think that was great because I feel like he hasn't got to have that showcase yet. So I think that was good to get him in that moment. It's better for him to get the title later on when he's more by himself and not with The Miz. And I think it was good to show, okay, I really want to push my guys, but I don't want to just make everybody from NXT that I worked with the top guys, the people that Triple H was training. So it was good that he lost because it kind of showed, yeah, he's not just going to railroad plans because, oh, these are my boys, right? But anyways, there was a fight in there with AJ and Miz, led to the main event. Tying in that car crash stuff, it looked like this character named Dexter Lumis. Not a big fan of it, but all this shows like in the side, there's commotion going on. Security's jumping on this guy. He's a hooded guy. They're wrestling with him. They're making it look like a fan's being ejected. And as they're pulling away for the camera, of course, they like pull up the hood so you can see his face. I think they could have done it a bit more like smaller, but they just want to do it that way, right? At the end of the day, I'm just happy they did that because there was a through line throughout the show. Like, what the fuck's going on? We're assuming that because he was released, he was fired in real life. He's been signed back by Triple H. But I think they're trying to do the storyline where he like broke into the arena, was trying to get in, all this stuff. That's great TV. That's great because like it leaves you on a hook. It leaves you wondering what's going on. You're engaged the whole show. And that's why I didn't want to leave that main event because it wasn't a big thing, but I knew, okay, something's going to happen with this car crash. They're not going to pay this off next week, I don't think. What's going to happen? And they did pay it off. Like, okay, cool. You signed Dexter Lumis back. I think he's fine. Him being like a Dexter knockoff character is kind of cheesy. I know they've evolved him, but that's how he started. It's like, dude, it's 2022. I'm sure he loved that Dexter was back, but I don't know. He's a bit on the older side too, which is not a bad thing, but I don't know what the future is with him. But at the same point, he's a character. He's a very out there type of character. So he's not just like, generic wrestler A, which some people don't want. He was just talking about on Paul Logan's podcast, right? Where you want to remember a person because of, their actions and their character, not just because, oh, those two guys that put on a good match. Dexter Lumis has a look and a character that you would remember for later on. It's just, I don't know if he needed to be main event spot, but it did something very fun and unique for the show. So even if he's just like a lower mid-carder or mid-card, okay, I'm down for that because that's the stuff that's going to get people like myself wanting to rewatch. You, for wrestling, want to be in the state where you don't want to miss live. You want to see it because you don't want to be spoiled on Twitter. You don't want to be, it's just like an MCU or TV show, right? The second it airs, it's all over social media. It's like a sporting event. So I'm loving what he's doing. I'm loving it so much. I always give you guys fourth wall breaking thing. I don't know if it's going to happen. I need to plan out. It's all depending on next year and podcasting goes, but man, if WWE continues to be this good and AEW continues to be this good, I'm going to have to get in the game here with the wrestling podcast because I have so much. It's just like movies where it's just like I have so much more to talk about and like breaking down the matches and stuff like that. And that's where, there'll be surveys and see how many people are interested. But luckily, you guys have showed that when I talk about the stuff, whether it's just you care about me ranting or you actually are closeted wrestling fans, or maybe like S-Bubs, you said, oh, I just want to be interested to, hear what the stories are of these things and just, need some content. Give it a shot. There's maybe give it a shot later on. But January, yeah, who knows? But it's been a good time. But that is the August 9th edition of Travis Told You. I will be back tomorrow at a regular time. Let's see. Last question here from Pickens before we go. Who you think Roman loses the titles to? That's tough. I was ending it, but I'll continue on just for you, Pickens. Because it's not an easy answer. I think it's tough because with Roman and Rock, if it's happening at Main, take this off the board. Rock, let's say, injured, movie can't do it, it's Cody. Cody's the guy, especially with the Triple H connection. I think there's just such a good story there. A Rhodes versus an Anoa'i. Like, there's so much to go into there. That Wrestlemania, and like Cody Rhodes has done great for WWE. It's not just because, we brought over from AEW and Steel One. It's like, no, there's been lots of press. He's done some of his best work there. I think he's going to do even better work with Triple H behind him. My fucking God. Vince did good with the room. So, Triple H is going to. I think that's the answer. And I still think that's the answer, even if Rock's in it. But my thing is, I don't think Rock and Roman needs to be for the titles. Now, they might view it that way. They might view it as, we need the biggest match for WrestleMania. So it's The Rock trying one more time to become world champion. We know the result. I think all of us wrestling fans know, hey, when Rock and Roman happens, Rock's going down. It could be Rock's last match. It's passed the torch to Roman. It's passed the torch to the head of table. Family member. That's the story. It makes lots of sense, right? But we all thought that with Rock versus Cena. And I was there live in Miami, and it was one of the best moments of my life because at this point, my little sister, she was a little sister, and she loved John Cena, just loved him. And I was like, and I was a huge Rock. I was the Attitude Era, right? And I remember when The Rock came back, she was like, the guy from Game Plan and Tooth Fairy, she didn't even know that he was a wrestler before. She was like, I don't know how old she was. Somewhere, because what? So she's, she's 22 right now, and that was in 2012. So she was about 12, 13, somewhere in there when Cena lost, and all of us fans, at least myself, thought The Rock, even though it was in his hometown, was going to lose. My God, there's a great picture. I'll have to find it one time of myself. My dad got a picture of the 1, 2, 3, and he turned over and took a picture, and Mac just like shocked out of her mind, and I was just cheering the loudest I ever had, because at this point, this is when John Cena was the top shit and just won all the time. So as a big brother, I was like, fuck, like, I don't like John Cena right now. Like, and I knew it was scripting everything, but I just like, I don't like this character. It's getting boring, and Mac just loves him, and I need something to happen to him. And it did. I was like, fuck, finally. And it was great. That was WrestleMania 28 is probably still my favorite time in a wrestling arena, other than a few like I've talked about before, like the NXT show in the gym. There's definitely a couple others. The Raw after WrestleMania 28 with the Dan O'Brien, yes, I was there, but that night was special. And Pickens says, Rock not winning, Cody wins titles at Chamber. My only problem is that I feel like the win has to be at Mania. And that's where I feel like you have someone, it's a little repetitive, but you have like a triple threat, or you do something where Roman loses the title but isn't pinned. But at the same time, do you want that? No, you probably want Roman's streak to end, or like his run to end with someone beating him, right? And I just feel like Cody Rhodes winning at Chamber will be great. That'd be good for him. But I don't think that's big enough. If it's not Mania, it has to be one of the big four. So maybe like Royal Rumble, something like that. But Mania is the place. But that's my thing, is like, I don't think if they're doing Rock and Roman, they should have Cody beat him before. But their idea might be, we got to make the match the biggest of all time. We can't have, like, let's say Roman loses to Cody and looks less strong, so we got to have Rock beat him, or like we have to have him beat Rock. Like, that's my worry, is they go, oh, if Cody beats Roman, the match with Rock and Roman is not as big because we just saw Cody beat him. We know he could get beat. I think that as much as I don't want to wait, I think the best answer is if they're obsessed with doing that way, and if you're, because to me it's still Roman versus Rock, head of the table. You can say Cody Rhodes just bested him one night. That's the way it is. This is for like the legacy of the family. That to me, you don't need the titles, and you can right away explain. All you need is Roman to beat the shit out of the Rock, and people will forget that he lost to Cody quick. Even if it's something like I don't know. It's something where the Usos are trying to cheat on Cody and Rock acts as a distraction or something. I don't know. I don't know what you could do. It'd have to be some sort of strange way to get there before Rock and Roman. But my thing is, and what you just said, Pickens, SummerSlam maybe a bit too long. I could still see that though. You get Roman and Rock for the titles at WrestleMania main event. Roman beats him. Roman's on a fucking like 2-3 year title run now. He's beat a bunch of legends. He's beat Cena. He's beat Brock, and now he's beat The Rock. Who could stop him? I think it is bigger for Cody to beat, and assuming Cody's the guy, if you were to ask me what should you wait for, maybe you do wait for that. If there's no Rock, then just for WrestleMania. But if you're to say, hey, Cody could beat Roman after he beats The Rock, that would be huge, because then in that hierarchy, Roman could beat The Rock, but he couldn't beat Cody, and that makes Cody a fucking megastar, and that helps him even more with like the good guy babyface push. So I think that's the play. My other play was you do a triple threat or something like that. Seth gets the title, and you just do Cody and Seth again. Yeah, it's again, but it's a story. They left it for he attacked him after the injury, and it would be a great match still. But I think that might be the route. Rock and Roman for the title at Mania, even though I don't think they need it. Take the title off it, but that's the way it is. Rock Roman Mania, he beats him, and then Cody. I think that's the guy. I don't think it's Austin Theory. Maybe someone could break out in a little bit, but I think Cody should be the next one. So I hope, Pickens, I did your question justified. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this episode. We will be back tomorrow, and I promise you it'll not be boring.